Mariners make one final trade. They acquire JT Chargois from the Miami Marlins, and in exchange, they give up right-hander Will Schomburg. So that name might sound familiar to you. Chargois, not Schomburg. I doubt you're too familiar with him, and we'll talk about him. But you probably are saying to yourself, maybe, I don't know if you are or not, but you could be saying, hey, that name sounds familiar. Well, he used to be a Seattle Mariner. In 2021, he appeared in 31 games for them with an even 3 ERA, and then he was shipped off to Tampa Bay in the deal for Diego Castillo. Since then, he's joined the Miami Marlins, and he's been pretty effective when on the mound, and we'll talk about that. So far, 15 appearances. He came back on June 12th with a 1.62 ERA over those 15 appearances in 16 2/3 innings, a 12-7 strikeout to walk ratio. In 2023, a 3.61 ERA, 42 1/3 innings in 46 appearances, a 35-18 strikeout to walk ratio. If you take a look at the Savant page for 2024, it is not very good. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that he's only appeared in 15 games. Fastball velocity has been fine, 94 miles an hour on that heater. That is still above average. Someday that'll be a changeup for everyone, but for now, still above average. But he hasn't struck very many people out. 16.9 strikeout rate, 16.9%, excuse me. 9.9 walk rate is not great. Hard hit percentage of 46.2, only generating 36.5% ground balls. Average exit velocity of 91 miles per hour. His expected ERA of 5.21 is almost 4 runs higher than his actual ERA. And all that tells me is that he just hasn't pitched very much this year. Let's take a look at what he did in 2023. Expected ERA of 3.63. Expected batting average of 230. Fastball velocity, 96.2 miles an hour. Average exit velocity allowed, 87.7. That's very low. This is even lower. 4.2% barrel rate. Difficult to square up the baseball. Hard hit percentage of 34.5. Ground ball rate of 54.6. You know who JT Chargois is? I almost gave it away right there. He's Justin Topa. The Seattle Mariners acquired Justin Topa, the healthy version. For now, the biggest concern with Chargois is that he has really struggled to stay healthy. Since 2016, he's only made 223 plate appearances. He hasn't batted at all. He has 223 games appeared in. He has only gone over 50 appearances once, and that was 56 games with the Mariners and the Rays in that 2021 season. He had 46 last year, which is number 2. He has struggled to stay healthy, and it's worth pointing out that he dealt with a neck issue that kept him out until the middle of June this year. So, availability is important, and JT Chargois has not shown a ton of availability. But when he's been on the mound, he's been pretty darn good. And this is a guy that you acquire because he's better than Trent Thornton. He's probably better than Colin Snyder, even though I like Colin Snyder an awful lot. And if you're going traditional roles now, if your starter only goes 5, you got the 9th inning for Munoz, you got the 8th inning for Jimmy Garcia, you got the 7th inning for Gregory Santos. And I think your 6th inning guy would now be the 4th best reliever on your team would probably be Chargois. Some decent options outside of those guys, for sure. But I do think Chargois adds to that depth, and they needed to add to that depth for sure. I like this trade. In part because they gave up a guy who, in Will Schomburg, who has put up decent numbers in high A Everett, just doesn't project to be anything more than org depth. I was surprised that Miami was really all that interested in this. They moved a lot of stuff for a lot of stuff. Quantity and quality. I think they probably just didn't want to pay JT Chargois. And it's worth pointing out that Chargois is still under contract for one more year. On top of 2024, he will hit free agency in 2026. He'll be eligible next year. Made $1.285 million last year, so you're probably looking at about 2.5, something along those lines, maybe less. Not a big salary commitment. And Yeah, we know how this stuff goes. So the Mariners are done. And in the span of, what was it, 72 hours? 96? I can't remember. They have added Randy Arozarena, Justin Turner, Jimmy Garcia, and JT Chargois. They have also moved Ryan Stanek and Ty France. 6 trades. It's quite a bit. I get the feeling that people are disappointed from what they did at the deadline. And let me just, you are it's more than understandable. And I'm trying not to talk down to you here. I totally get it. I'm not thrilled with this deadline either. I'm happy, but I'm not thrilled. I would have been thrilled if they would have gotten another big bat, a guy who could pass as a middle of the order option. I really thought they were going to get one too. Or maybe I was just hoping, but they didn't. They didn't. I just want to say this, though. If the Mariners would have acquired all 4 of those guys today, and I'm not saying this to be mean, I'm not saying this to be anything but truthful. Your opinion on the deadline would be significantly different if they acquired those 4 guys today. Your opinion on the organization may not change. You may feel the exact same way about this team that you did in the front office and the ownership. You might feel the exact same way. But your opinion on what they did to get better would be drastically different based on the responses that I got today and in the chat. And again, I want to thank people so much for coming out to that chat. I know the Mariners didn't do anything, but, well, they made a trade. Like right when we started, the Chargois trade happened. We were hoping for something bigger. But the fact that you guys all stuck around and asked such awesome questions, and it means a lot. It means a lot. So I really appreciate the support. But, the response we got was a lot of people disappointed. And I get that most of you are saying you're disappointed in today, but I think a lot of you feel like it's just an overall disappointment. But I think where your disappointment should be is not in the deadline and what they did over this weekend, for lack of a better time frame. That's not what you're disappointed in, or not what you should be disappointed in. You should be disappointed that they didn't do a better job building this roster in the offseason. You were never going to fix everything at this deadline. And I almost feel like tease isn't the right word, but I think because they were able to get a Arozarena for such a, in my humble estimation, low prospect return, because they were able to get Jimmy Garcia for such a low prospect return, again, subjective, my opinion. Justin Turner didn't cost him really anything, and all due respect to Will Schomburg, just an organizational arm to get JT Chargois. I think that we were left with the feeling, well, you make those moves, and now you can move the big guys to go get the big guys. And I don't disagree. And I hope that I don't find out someday that the Mariners could have gotten Vladimir Guerrero Jr., or they could have gotten Yandy Diaz, or they could have gotten, even like a Therese Skubal or Garrett Crochet or Luis Robert. I hope I don't find that out. And I made the point when I was very, very angry after that Angels series that nothing is unattainable. There's no such thing as an untouchable player. And there certainly isn't such thing as an untouchable prospect. But 2 teams do have to tango. And I wonder if that Toronto and Chicago just finally said it just doesn't make sense to trade these players now. So, am I disappointed they weren't able to get those guys? Oh, of course. Like, beyond disappointed. But do I think the Mariners did a good job at getting better over these last 72 hours? Or, again, time is a construct. I've been up since 3:30 in the morning. I think they did a great job. I think you also see that if you plan on building your playoff team through the trade deadline, probably a mistake to do it this way. I really wanted one more bat. Somebody like Mark Canha. A bunch of guys that got moved. I thought would have made sense. But I can't be too disappointed because I do think the Mariners did a great job of getting better for 2024. And I will also point out that it looks like at the time of this recording this video, and it's a dangerous time because it's 3:45 right now, and we have seen trades get leaked an hour after quite a bit. But it doesn't look like the Astros did much to get better. And the Rangers definitely didn't do much to get better. So, if you want to argue that the Mariners are still the third best roster of those three teams, you can. But none of those teams got any better. In my opinion, the Yusei Kikuchi is the worst trade of the deadline. And Rowdy Tellez doesn't change anything for me. And Texas, Carson Kelly, and some little stuff that I might have missed. No. So, overall, if I had to grade this deadline, I would give it a B+. I said they needed an A bat, a B bat, and a C bat. They ended up getting a B+ bat, a B- bat, a B+ to A- reliever. I'm a huge Jimmy Garcia fan. And a B to B- reliever. I think that's pretty good. Is it enough? I don't know, but it won't be because of this deadline. It'll be because they didn't do enough to improve it this offseason and the offseason before that. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, please comment your thoughts. Really, 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 really appreciate the support. Here's hoping the Mariners play a much better game tonight. Talk to you soon. Very interesting deadline.